All right, we're now live. We're going to wait for a few people to come in here. We're going to give you a live demonstration of how to fix a hard mistake. And if you are a cleaner, it's not a matter if you're ever going to run into a big mistake or a hard mistake. It's just a matter when you're going to run into a hard mistake, right? So, commute all phones. That includes Mark over there. I'll make sure mine's muted also.
Yeah,
And we'll wait for a few folks to come in here. Generally, we like to start somewhere around the 2-minute mark. So we'll get some people in here. Mark, you want to go ahead and say something and make sure that your sound is coming through good?
Yeah, is it clear at this distance? Good.
Very clear. Very
My
clear.
mic is
Absolutely.
3 feet away.
So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to invite a few people too. So hold tight, Mark. And if you like anybody that pops in here now, if you'll just let me know if you can hear Mark and I very clearly when we're talking, that would be helpful. I'm going to open the chat up. Can you hear us clearly? And like I said, what you're going to find. Oh, yeah. Aha. That was host. I'll put that up there. What you're going to find is that every cleaner eventually runs into some type of really bad mistake. And some of them they can't even take care of. So we're going to give you one that's very difficult. At least it seems on the surface, all pun intended. But when you actually get down to it and you know how to do it, you can fix a mistake like this. A cleaner wrote me a message and he said, look, Rob, we left this product up on a floor. It was a stone floor. I think was it a travertine, Mark?
It was a marble or limestone, I think it was.
Limestone, that's what it was, limestone floor. So I'm going to bring this picture in here so people can see it. If you would, everybody, let me know if you can hear me clearly and Mark clearly. Mark, you want to introduce yourself and who you are? And I'm going to go ahead and bring the picture in here and I'll explain the problem along with you.
I'm just a cleaner like you guys, but I stopped for a little while to go build a tool that's kind of hanging on the wall there, the Turbo Hybrid. A couple other tools for Turbo Force International. But I've really been engaged as I've seen carpet kind of diminish a lot since '06, and I've been really focusing on hard surfaces. So between porcelain and natural stone and LVP and engineered wood, we need to be as savvy as the salesmen who sell these surfaces are. The consumers just buy it because it sounds good and looks good. But when you actually own it, you wonder, oh man, that stuff's not easy to take care of. So right. I've been diving into it. I've learned how to polish stone and marble, granite. I've learned a little bit about the different ways of repairing stone.
Can you speak up a little bit, Mark? You're doing really good, but just speak up a little bit louder.
Yeah, I'll get close to the microphone. How about that?
Yeah, much better. And speak up.
Yeah, it'll get easier the more you do things. So just like anything you've done for the first time, it was scary. Then you started doing it, you do more of it, and then you get hit with a weird thing like, wow, what's that weird shape in the marble? Turns out it's some acid where, different beverages are spilled, medicines or cosmetics. They all have different pH values, and sometimes they're acidic. A lot of times they're acidic.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and pull that picture up, Mark, and you can explain it. I'll put it right in between us, okay? There you go. You want to explain that picture, Mark, and what happened?
This is really actually a very tight travertine. Here's a travertine here that's got a similar color cast to it. In fact, it looks like
sure does. Yep.
So
sure does.
It's made of a calcium. It's calcite based. So calcium is alkaline. Baking soda is alkaline. There's a lot of minerals that are alkaline. The hard water, the spots that form on a shower, that's alkaline. That's
correct.
Magnesium and calcium. Calcium is the operative word.
They're all made of calcium. I just want to set this up and go ahead and have you continue to talk, Mark. Somebody had messaged me, sent me this picture. He said, Rob, one of my employees took a bottle of Zep acid cleaner, set it on this stone floor. There you go, just like what Mark's showing right there. And when he did, the customer calls back up, sends him this picture and said, look, hey, you damaged my floor. And he's freaking out. So I said, this is fixable, but it's a little bit of work involved and it's just a little bit of knowledge. And if you have that knowledge, you can take care of a difficult mistake. And Mark's going to walk you through it. So go ahead and explain what happened there, Mark, and why it etched the floor.
Okay, so it could be a mistake you made, your tech made, or the customer made. They don't know that you
Mhm.
can't put certain chemicals. Who reads labels, right?
Mhm.
Who finds out what pH the chemical is? So it's going to happen. You're going to put a Coke down, a Pepsi, a Dr. Pepper. What is the ingredient in those cola drinks that cause acid etch? It's acid. It's phosphoric acid.
Phosphoric.
There are about
Mhm.
there are about 5 to 6 different kinds of organic and inorganic acids in the world. Salsa, vinaigrettes, all these things, and they get set there innocently, leaving a little water ring, and then when they wipe it, that's what they have is an etch in that you see in the picture. Looks like a round container and a square container. That's kind of weird. I don't know what that means.
It is. I know.
But and then there's some kind of slop, little wings that come off of that. That's
Yes.
just the acid. It had more dwell time under the bottle, less dwell time
Mhm.
around it, and then someone wiped it. You can even see to the hard left where that line is, that grout line. It's another faint one, a square.
Yes.
You see it?
Yep.
So they
Sure
just
do.
kept moving stuff around and not realizing they're just etching their own floor by movement. So
Oh,
what
and
happened?
Mark, and let me say this. This is why it's so important to use floor protection. Whenever I'm around real stone or hardwood floors, I take my floor protection and lay it down. And then when I have leftover product or equipment, I set it on the floor protection. And I teach my employees to do the same thing. So that's really important. It's better to prevent a problem than fix a problem, correct?
Let me give you a good example of that. So I am fixing a marble floor that a large, I won't mention names, a large franchise had done some pet urine treat. What is most pet urine treats pH?
Well, it
Just for
starts
what?
off as an acid, turns into an
Well,
alkaline salt.
yeah, you're talking about the urine itself, but what about
Yes.
the cleaners, the treatments you guys use, we all use to neutralize urine? We're going to hit it with an acid. And the acid that's in there can be administered through a hydroforce, through a pump up sprayer, through a trigger sprayer. If you're walking around with a hydroforce and it's dripping out of the tip of the wand,
There you go.
it's acid. It might not even be diluted because the hydroforce has concentrate in the jug and the water isn't shooting through, but you're dripping and gravity is pumping it out of your container. So you are spilling really strong acid here
Mm,
and there on the way back to your truck. That's exactly
correct.
what. So I had to spot fix all those, and I charged the carpet cleaning company because the homeowner isn't gonna. Who's gonna fix it? The carpet cleaner. We should learn how to diversify and do these fixes, especially if we did them ourselves. You don't want to pay the bill and have Rob or someone or me come out, fly out, and fix it. So, learning how to do something that just requires a little bit of knowledge and the right tools, you'll not only fix problems you created, but also make money fixing the problem the homeowner created or three other guys created, or the dog when he threw up. What's inside a vial when an animal throws up? Hydrochloric acid. It's
Hey,
like
Mark,
Kool-Aid.
somebody messaged in and said they couldn't hear me as clear as you, so I turned myself up. It's 40
Okay.
billion served is his name. He's coming from YouTube. You might want to let me know your name. And thanks for that comment. Let me know if that helps some, if you can hear me clearer now. Thank you very much. Okay, keep talking, Mark.
All right, so these problems happen. I'm going to go zoom in on a little. And what happens to a dark marble is a dark marble will usually turn very light. It turns crusty and turns white and chalky. This
Yes.
hasn't dried yet, and this is a dark gray Italian marble. And you can see on here the ring that's left looks like an oil ring, right? That you wouldn't you say that's oil right off? It looks like little strips of bacon grease or something. It's
But I know
not.
that's where you put the ZEP at. So
We
you
put this
just imitated the problem that we showed earlier that the
Yeah,
customer
we are
had.
trying to simulate what happens in the real world. And
Yes.
I'm going to watch this. What are you seeing right away out of the chute? It's
Starting to
white and
foam up.
foamy. Yeah, it's not
Yep.
because it's soapy and foamy. It's foaming up because it's reacting like that volcano did in science fair. Remember the baking soda and vinegar volcano we all made out of paper mache? Or at least if you didn't make one, someone next to you did. And so it's reacting. The acid is continuing to sizzle. If I went real close, you'd see bubbles being created. The gas that's created from calcium crashing into acid. And so the longer that sits there, the more the stone's pH, the alkalinity, is going to neutralize the acid. It's going to run out of steam. It's going to run out of power soon. And it's just going to sit there, and it's etching deeper and deeper until there's no more etching action. So a ring, a splatter, a dribble, uh, lime juice, orange juice, lemonade, um, lemon juice spilled in front of the fridge right on the floor. All of
Cola,
that can
anything.
happen.
I see it all the time.
So
Yep.
when you pre-inspect the job, you're just looking for etch marks because you're seeing money laying there, opportunity to serve the customer and go fix it. And all you need is a few tools and what we're going to demonstrate here today. So
Hey, Mark,
rose
how deep does something like that go?
I have seen etches that were so ignored or repetitive. So you can repeat an etch over
Mm.
and over. This isn't even a strong acid compared to, say, muriatic pull acid. And I've seen it where there's literally a pit. It's
Oh,
literally like a 16th of an inch deep. So how do we get those out? We can't clean them away because when you clean them, they're just not going to be cleaned away. The acid did its damage. And if you were here and could feel this with your fingernail, you'd feel the grab that this area and this area had because of the acid etch. I'm using a microfiber, and as I push it across, I'm feeling the ring. I'm feeling this catch, slide, and catch again. It's weird. It's like the sandpaper right where that ring is.
why is that, Mark? Has it removed
because
because it removed the calcium?
it's removed the stone, literally. So when people
Oh,
say, I've got to clean that, you can't clean acid etch. It is missing stone. It's like somebody used a sandblaster or sanded it. What are these little white streaks here? This is where something heavy was chattered across the surface, like a drill, like a furniture leg with a nail in it, drug. That's what marble does. It turns white. If it's travertine and you scratch it, it's going to turn white. Well, by golly, someone made me a perfect demo. Did you see that white scratch right
look
there?
at that. Yes,
That's
absolutely.
that's just an object that drug across it. When I feel it with my fingernail, I could barely feel it. So it's not really a deep scratch, but it is a disturbance in the surface. When that happens and you wipe it, oh, I just fixed it, right? No, you didn't.
In
This
this,
is
okay,
water.
Mark, in this demo, will a scratch and an acid etch, will you be fixing it the same way in this
Yeah,
demonstration?
it's a little different only in how deep you have to chase because a scratch or a
Mm.
disturbance in the surface can go pretty deep, where an acid etch can go shallow or deep. So, they're the same. We physically, so we're not going to fix, there's two ways to fix this problem. One is visually with a Band-Aid. What is that Band-Aid? It's an enhancing sealer, a resin that isn't really, it is a sealer, but when it's an enhancer, it's like putting oil. If I'm just rubbing my forehead because everyone has oil on their forehead. It's on my two fingers. I'm going to take that scratch and I'm going to rub real hard. That's not
Mm.
water. That's the little bit of oil from my head. What's going to happen? Now, will oil dry out and turn bright again?
Oh, you mean dull, like the way the thing looks for the most part?
No, enhanced wet looking. That looks dark,
Right.
doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
If you spilled bacon grease there, if you spilled taco meat oil, any oil, it's going to turn dark. Will oil dry and go away like water will?
To some degree, but not all the
Well,
way because
it doesn't go
if
away. It actually soaks in. It's just going in a little, but
it's soaked in,
that's going
that's
to
why it
remain
lightens
that
up.
way. That's going to remain that way until I do get an enzyme and take it out. So porous
Gotcha.
material will absorb what falls on it. If it happens to be an acid, then it's going to take the stone with it, collateral damage. If it's oil,
Mm.
you use a poultice or you use an enzyme to help wick that back out. There's also
Gotcha.
microbial treatments for that, but that's another subject.
Now,
For another
Mark,
podcast.
if that stone was polished, would either thing be less apt to happen,
No,
polished or
that's
sealed?
a misnomer. When people see a polished stone, they think, "Oh, it's sealed, it's glossy." No, all that means is it is shiny. And when you etch it with an acid accidentally, then it is literally, it is going to be just as noticeable. Here's my acid.
Really?
Yeah, just because it's shiny. In fact, when it's
Well,
shiny,
what
it's
about
even
with the
more.
oils? What about with oils? Because really, when you polishing the stone, you are making it less absorbent, correct?
You are tightening up the surface, but
Yes.
you're not necessarily tightening up the porosity.
Oh,
Usually a polished marble is
mm,
also going to be
good to
oh
know.
yeah, look, do you see how that's right where I hit the acid? It kind of fizzles for a little bit.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so that's etching. I'm going to go to this.
Okay.
I'm going to go to this gold marble. Look at that. That went right off, didn't it?
Wow. Yep. Okay. But now let me see the oil. I don't think you're going to get the same. The oil
Nope.
is going to come off. because it's not going
Yeah,
to. That's more of a
the
dull
oil's
stone.
penetrated in. It's a oil stain, and the only way you're going to fix that is to extract it, to clean it.
I'm talking about put the oil on the
You
polished
mean the
stone. It
acid?
won't show up as much.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm running out of oil because I'm not sweating here. I'm not having. Here I go. I got some out of there.
You
But yeah,
see,
because it's a light color, you really don't
true
see it
that
dark.
too. Yeah,
Remember, this is a dark color. It shows a lot more off than a light color.
yeah. The orange. I have orange marble throughout my house.
Like this, or this is kind of peach. Or
No, it's more like the other one, the one you were just had your hand on. That one there, yeah.
yeah.
But it's more attractive than that. I don't know why. That one's got kind of a bunched up look. Mine's more veiny.
Splotchy and yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm wiping off the excess.
Okay, now Mark, do you have to do any type of prep work before you come in with you're going to polish this out?
It's always a good idea to clean first, because what if you think it's an etch and all it is milk? Think about it. How many things have we chased that we didn't understand and we thought it was something? Like the prismatic refraction from a lead crystal chandelier, and you've got three colors on the white carpet, and you went to go get your dye removal kit out of the truck. You come back, and by golly, it moved from here to here.
Yeah.
Because the sun moved and the angle of the refraction changed. So
exactly.
We got to figure it out. So IDing the problem in the first place. So when you see this tile and this tile, so these are both marble, right, guys?
Yeah, it's not a real clear picture, but yeah, that looks like a marble there also.
There's so many different varieties of marble. There's black and green and
is that Carrara marble?
Yep, Carrara, and that's Carrara there. And then rainforest is crazy. It looks like roots of trees, and it has hard and soft sectors in it. So which parts of a stone will etch more than another? It's self-answered. The softer stone that's more porous will absorb more acid and will then etch deeper than the hard stone. So that's not necessarily a challenge to us, but it's education you need to have. So when you are honing and polishing and bringing the shine back up, you want to know what you're starting with, so you know what you're going to end with. Obviously, the surrounding area is what you're trying to target to make it look the same as the surrounding area. Now, this was a trick question. You guys say this is a marble, right? Well, I don't know how many said. Are there some bright bulbs that say, no, that's not a marble? If they said it's not a marble, they're right.
Yep, a faux marble, okay?
It's a fake marble. But don't walk in and get squeamish and say, oh, I got to be careful with my chemicals, because you don't. That's
right.
It's dang durable. Can it get scratched? Yes, it can. And there is a way to polish scratched porcelain, by the way, gentlemen.
Well, we don't want to go. We don't want to go there tonight. But
we're not going to go there. But just know there's a way to repair most things. This surface, we're going to lift it, and we're going to see some interesting things with it by getting a reflection. So it's through reflection you're going to see what you have. Oh, there we go. I don't know if I can. Okay, there's the lights, the overhead lights. I'm going to move through with the camera. What's happening?
Oh, I can see. Yeah, you can see
there's something going. Oh, yeah. Look at this. It's literally acid etching going on. That is
acid etching too.
Look at that.
Sure. Look at that. Wow.
Someone laid a cup there with acid on it. I wonder who did that.
So which piece are you going to do the demonstration on?
Well, we're going to do a few. Do you see this?
Okay. Yes.
Where is it just sort of frosted, and where is it literally deeper? Do you see any changes, like sculpture to this?
Yeah, you can see a little bit in there. Yes. Where it's darker.
And that's a deeper etch right there. That's where the acid had more dwell time. Everything's reversed on a darn camera.
Or more volume of the acid, right?
More volume, which equates to longer dwell time. So I'm literally feeling this with my fingernails. If I had a blindfold on, I could tell you where the acid was, because I can feel.
And it's funny how you really can't see that right now. Yeah, when you put it up under the light.
Yeah, and when you're looking at a long look angle through a window shining in, you'll see this in the middle of a room 30 feet away. It's crazy.
Well, just like that picture. I'm going to pop this picture back in for people who are in here now. They might not have saw this. But this is a picture right here. And this, one of my cleaning customers, he went out and got some Zep to clean some in a bathroom, which I always recommend using alkaline. And so, but the floor he was working with, he felt like he needed some acid. That's why we normally use Grout Master or Frog Nasty. But anyway, his employees set this down on the floor. And when you set it down on the floor, you can see where it etched it. And like you said, Mark, some are darker, some are lighter. Well, it's because of volume or just dwell time. So now they're deep. So what Mark's going to do is show you the equipment. He's going to show you the pads you need, and he's going to do a demonstration of how to remove this problem. Because the whole title of this is Fixing Hard Mistakes, number one. Mark and I are going to kind of make a little series of this, of hard mistakes that you run into and help you work your way through it. Okay, go ahead, Mark.
So number one, we're using abrasive media. That means we need some abrasives that are harder than the marble, but we want abrasives that are gradient. We want fine, medium, coarse. We want extra fine, mega extra fine. So we're trying to accomplish the same shine surrounding the damaged spot. So we have abrasive pads. They're usually diamond. They're compositions of diamond, sometimes tin oxide. There's even some ceramic components in some of the new hybrid media. So the 1, the 2, the 3, these are just one way of demonstrating the coarse, medium, and fine. It could say this could actually be 40 grit. This could be 800 grit, and this could be 2000 grit. So the grit is the size of the grains of diamond abrasives that are contained within the resin. The resin is just a plastic or a melamine material. In the case of these pads that I use, they're melamine. It's just kind of a plastic. They act more like a clay, and they're sacrificial, but they're holding the diamonds in place, just like sandpaper that is glued to paper. It's sand that's glued to the paper. Okay. When the sand loads, you have to clean the paper or throw it away and get a new piece of paper. Well, the resins are designed to be sacrificial. Let me show you a new one. It's got
so nice are you going to start with a resin, Mark, and then come back with the DIP pads?
Yeah. Well, we might not even use a dip. Now, that's another thing we'll talk about, but we're going to talk about.
Why not? Listen, why not just use a dip pad? Is it because of the severity?
No, it's a good question. I would use a dip or could use a dip. Here's the 3000 dip pad. See the white? It's frosted on the surface. We've got Bonastra. We've got MB Stone, Tornado. Everyone's making them. 3M makes some.
We're carrying the Bonastra. And what's the proper pronunciation? We carry the Bonastra pads ourselves.
Bonastra. They're from Spain.
And so people know. Hey, look, my green screen's not showing up because it's green, Mark. Check that out.
That's fine.
There's the back of it. Anyway, we do have these pads. I put it in front of me. Look at that.
Oh, that looks better, Rob. Hold that in front of your face. Yeah.
Hey, watch it now.
We have a resin glue, like an epoxy.
We do carry all these in the TMF store, by the way. Go ahead.
And the diamond dust is impregnated or part of the resin. It's bonded to the polyester pad, making it flexible. Now, that's the operative word. If you are trying to polish or take something out of a tumbled stone or a distressed stone or a leathered stone, that's where the surface isn't meant to be glass smooth. And so you would want flexible material to flex into the textures and be able to still polish. So we have various grits. The red over here, this is a Bonastra red. That's the most aggressive. That's kind of a coarse hone out. It's probably about 400 grit. It's pretty aggressive. And then you have yellow. I don't have any here, but yellow is the medium grit. And then green, which you just held up, is the fine grit. That's like 3,000, 3,500, 3,200. They keep it close. They don't want to tell you the secret.
They sure don't. I'm looking on the back of it. Yep.
It's no big deal. We just use.
Mark, you want to explain what a DIP pad is to people?
Dip diamond impregnated pad. So it's this fiber pad made of polyester, and the pad has been sprayed, coated on the very surface, that resin. When it's spent, when it's no longer there, you get less and less, polishing effect, and it's time to, chuck the pad and go get another one. This is the knockout in the middle of a 17 or 19-inch pad. It's usable. Right. Don't throw it away. Don't lose it, because we're going to put it on a driver pad.
What size driver pad is that? It must be small then, 3 inches or something?
That's it. Yeah, they make a 3-inch. This is a 4-inch.
Okay.
So, a 3-inch is almost too small, but a 3-inch is great when you're doing a sink where the faucet handles are and you got tight areas. So never think you can't use a different array. We've got 5-inch pads. Bonastra sells 5-inch pads, right? This is a
Yep.
Banastra.
We have the 5-inch. Yep.
And this is just a buff pad. There's no abrasives in this whatsoever. It's just a buff pad to buff things with. But here's your holder. It's a nice holder.
And Mark, if you went inside of a home and you cleaned the marble floors, and you want to give it just a little bit of pop when you're done, what would you recommend?
You're
Would
really
you
not.
recommend a DIP?
Yeah,
Or-
not really, because it depends on what it is. If it's ceramic, porcelain, if it's
No, I'm talking about if it's a natural stone like a marble floor.
if it's a natural floor, a marble floor, a travertine, and you're using, you got to decide which one. If I use this red pad thinking I'm going to pop the floor, you're going to dull the floor. You're going to turn it into chalk. So decide why you're doing it and then what you're going to do. So why are you going to buff the floor? Well, there's some footprints. There's some water spots. You just want to take off your evidence of a hose that dribbled or just water spots. And so a little bit of abrasive action, not abrasive, agitation action.
Just a white pad would be fine, right?
Yeah, a white pad, a hog hair.
That's what we do.
Hair.
We go back with a white pad and 175, or sometimes with OP machine with weights on it. We'll do that.
Exactly. You're just kind of buffing it out. But what happens if the floor is dirty and you're doing that? If you didn't clean it with a turbo, you're not really surgically cleaning the floor, and you left a little film or goo, your pad is going to pick that up, thermally activate it, melt it into the pad sort of, and then smear it around the rest of the floor. So realize cross-contamination can happen if you're just trying to buff out a floor. So realize why you're doing it. But I generally just keep it. I'll use I'll do foot mopping, or I'll get a bonnet, a microfiber bonnet under my 175, and just buff out the floor just to make sure I picked up all my water and whatever dribbles. So
he said, Mark, somebody's asking, will it polish it at all, the white pad?
No, because polish, we got to qualify the word polish. If you have a car and you put wax on it, and the wax, waxes aren't just wax. They usually have a clay compound. They're trying to take oxidation off. They're trying to, but we're cleaners.
Or swirl marks.
Yeah, we're going to clean residue off, and we're gonna buff a floor, but we're not changing it. If it's ceramic, if it's porcelain, we're not buffing the floor. It's never going to change unless you bring in a black pad. And I want to bring that up.
You're saying a black pad could polish?
That's a stripper pad. No.
Right, I know.
A black pad can destroy a granite countertop. I had a guy frantically calling saying he thought he could kind of dress up.
Why would you use that on a granite countertop?
And he had a hand polisher like this.
Oh my gosh.
He buffed the surface and scratched it to woozy. I mean, it was terrible. And he panicked because he just ruined the granite.
Of course he should panic.
To polish the whole granite countertop again because he just kept going, thinking it'll get better. He was scratching it. So
all right, so when would you use the black pad?
Never. VCT. It was designed for the VCT world. Vinyl that's been stained, and you need to sand down the vinyl. Black pads are for stripping wax off VCT. If you have wax on porcelain, don't use it. Just use chemicals to strip it, and then turbo it off. Use a brush with no. You know what a Zim grit or Nyla grit is, you guys?
Yes.
It's got silicon carbide grit in the bristles, the nylon bristles, and it is designed to be abrasive. Don't use it if you don't know what you're doing and why you're doing it. It's for concrete.
Hey, Mark, I got a question here. Somebody asked, Nick C. asked, will the pads attach to an Orbot stair tool? I've used them on an oscillating pad. It's the dual head machine, but I don't know if you can get that same cut into it. Depends on the depth, correct? You there, Mark?
Oh, you're asking me?
Yes, yeah.
When you say cut, you mean on stairs you have marble and you're trying to polish?
No, somebody's saying, listen, will the pads attach to an Orbot stair tool?
Use the Orbot stair tool to go onto countertops and floors.
Yes.
It could. Remember, these pads like Velcro. See how that's stuck? This pad is Norton abrasives. And I put it on that pad, and well, golly, it's stuck because it's Velcro. I have no idea what the Orbot uses as a fastening mechanism.
Yeah, you have to make your own. That's what Matt has done. One of my employees. They make your own.
You get some,
somebody should make those.
You get some male Velcro. Get on that, Rob. Male Velcro discs that peel and stick, and now you can do it because it's oscillating. Now there's some things to say about oscillating. Oscillating will do some things. It'll polish stone, but it also, because they're tiny circles, will tend to erode softer sectors in a stone. What do I mean by that?
So will a halo?
Structure.
Will it halo, Mark?
No, it'll just erode. You'll get
Oh,
softer
okay.
areas disappearing and the harder areas staying there, so it'll look orange peely. We
Oh,
call this leathering. There are leathering brushes that actually are
mm,
bristles that have abrasives in it, and they're plastic, and they just spin and they'll take out the soft stone, leaving the harder stone, and it gets a leather. It's a cool effect, but if it's not what the customer wanted, you don't want to be doing it. So oscillators kind of do. I prefer a spinning machine,
like a
175,
175. Yeah.
because they're moving really fast in a big circle. And if they're a fiber pad, remember they're flexible, they'll
Mm-hmm.
go into a softer stone and erode it. So we're going to stay mostly with resin bonds, because resin bonds are what? They're flat. They are mega flat. They're so flat that if you look at this, do you see a little reflection come off that?
Yeah, sure can.
That is my number 3. That means a very high shine. That will simulate about a 3,000 grit finish.
Okay, Mark. Mark, we've digressed a little bit. The main point here is, and this is how you and I work together, so people might not understand that. This is all great info, and you've really gone through it nicely. But you've got a lot of pads there, a lot of tools. I want you to simplify it and show people the easiest way to address this hard problem where the guy got the acid on the floor, his employee did, and it left the mark. So show us what tool, what and what steps, and go through it.
So we want to first identify what it is we're doing. Is it real natural stone, or is it just it's not a marble at all? It's porcelain. You're not going to work that. If it is marble and you see the problem and you want to identify how deep is it? Because if it's really deep, is it acid we're chasing, or is it a scratch we're chasing? So if it's deep and it's a scratch, we want to remove that stone fast. So we always though start with the minimal. We'll start with 1. I've gone into a job, and this is 3,000 grit, and I've seen a little light acid etching, and I pop it with that one time, really light pass, and I'm done.
Nice.
But if it's a deeper one, I need to go to 2. I don't ever start with 3 and then go, oop, that was too much.
Yes.
I always start conservative and move to aggressive. If
Absolutely.
I'm on number 2 and it's still taking too long to get to the bottom of my scratch, I jump to 3. And I'm
Would
careful.
you always start with 1 mark, or if you feel like if it's a deep
I
enough
always
scratch, you
start
start
with
at 2?
1. My experience will tell me I'll start with 1 if I think it's a 1. For example, the haze that I saw on one of these etches that I created was very faint, and it was so faint that I'd say, you know what, I'm going to use that number 3 right on the out of the chute, and it fixes it, because my experience tells me that. But
Right. But a
most of the
newbie.
time it'll be a 2, and
Okay.
and you're going to go to a 2, and you're going to see what happens. You're going to watch it disappear. So we're going to create some issues here so you can actually see it.
All right.
It will get noisy because it's a motor, and you won't need to hear me
Right.
talk too much. We'll give it a try.
Okay.
These are several different levels of etch I've created here, and some scratches. This has actually got a coating on it. I wanted you to be aware of that. If you can see the reflection, it's trying to focus on my lights up on the
Yeah.
roof. And then
What do you mean it's got a coating on it? That's
over to here.
so that's not natural stone?
This is a natural marble, but they put a coating on it.
Oh.
So this coating is actually a plastic coating. Let me see if I can create it and show it to you.
Yeah, I can kind of see it because it's got a lot of scratches in it already, and a little bit of haloing.
And you can see those little scratches that are going through there. So that's the coating. Come on, baby, stay focused.
Okay. Oh yeah, I see it now. Yep. Wow, that's a poor coating.
Well, it's a glossy marble. How's a coating going to bond when it has no home?
Yeah, no doubt.
It's really hard to get. So you shouldn't be coating a stone like a marble unless you have a high-tech coating, one of those molecular coatings. That
Yeah, you might as well just polish it. I don't get the thought on it.
Well, here's why. If you guys know how to polish, wouldn't you want to polish it? Make $4 or $5 a square foot?
Yeah, it makes more sense.
No, I'm kind of lazy. I just want to slap some floor wax, some mop and glow on here. It's going to look real pretty. No, you don't.
Hey, Mark. Well, then if you do find out that's what it is, and it's not an etch mark, it's actually mop and glow. Explain stripper.
Yeah, you need to apply a stripper. Strippers are alkaline. They're not acidic. You shouldn't have a problem using a stripper. But what do you do first to determine whether you're going to strip this stone or not?
Do a micro test. Yep, a micro test.
Micro testing says, I don't know. What is this? Let me see if it's a wax. I'm going to put my stripper on there, but I'm going to do 2-inch by 2-inch. Why would I do that? What if I find there's collateral damage? Would you want to fix 2-inch by 2-inch or 10 foot by 10 foot?
That's on. Yeah.
Easy question, guys. Easy answer.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
what we're going to do is do a micro test. Say, whoa, that melted that right off. No problem. If I had a surface prep pad, what abrasive grit value is a SPP pad? Anyone know?
I'm not sure, but that's what we use all the time.
Yeah, it's a way to. What do you use it for, Rob? Not a
We're
trick
only,
question,
I'm talking about when we're prepping hardwood floors to lay
right?
down a
Why?
coating,
What are you
or for
doing to that floor?
or
Why are you?
LVT or LVP. We're actually creating micro scratches so we can adhere to it, give it
Bingo.
that grip.
Those are
But you don't
bite.
want to use it on this floor.
That's right. So would an SPP pad take that off? You bet it would.
I sure it
And
would, but it's going to create its own new scratches.
yeah, collateral damage to the substrate. So
Collateral damage. That's a good way to
know
put it.
what you're
Yeah,
doing, know what you're doing it on, and use
exactly.
chemicals that are safe that you've tested in a micro test. Easy
Right.
answer. All right. So once you've determined that, you're going to determine how deep the etch is, and then you're going to select your pads. Here's a habit that I started doing. I have 3 pad drivers, the holders, 1, 2, and 3, because I have 1, 2, and 3 pads. When I have to Velcro pull these off every time to switch pads,
Oh, it's time consuming.
and you wear out the Velcro, the hooks and the loops. So I just buy one of each. Anytime I want number 1,
Smart.
I grab it. Want number 2, I grab it. It's just a game changer.
Right.
So
Smart.
you see the grits? Do you see the grits on this guy? Do you see
Yes.
the diamonds?
Mm-hmm.
These
Yeah.
are industrial brown diamonds or yellow diamonds. I'm sorry. Look how freaking big they are,
Monsters.
right? But they're flat. So they've sort of been honed down due to use. This guy used to look like this.
A
You see
brand
the
new one. Let me see it. Oh yeah!
Yeah, you
Wow! Look at that.
See the profile, how much has gone out
How
of
much
those?
longer can you use that pad, Mark?
That's
And
the
how
neat
many
thing.
times?
These pads last really long. I probably use this on 3 different jobs where I had to move a lot of material fast. I love these because you can be used dry or wet. Most pads are wet only
Yeah.
because if you
Oh
use them
wow!
dry,
They can be used dry too. Okay.
if you use them
Everything
wet, if you use them dry, most pads will get thermal and start melting. Kind of some of the material will melt onto the stone. So
That's pretty
these
cool.
can be used wet, dry, wet, dry, wet, dry.
Okay,
which
so
means,
you're going to start off. So you're going to start off with the resin, number 1 and number 2.
yeah, we're gonna because we know what degree of damage we have here, and we're gonna pop
Okay.
like this one is a satin. We're gonna pop this to really pretty glass like, even though it wasn't originally. So I'm gonna put my camera. Let's see what's the other your tools of choice. So here's a big old fat mama Milwaukee. It's kind of heavy. It's kind of big. It's powerful. It's very high torque, which means you're never gonna load this bad boy, even if you put a 5-inch head on it or a 7-inch head on it. That thing is not going to be loaded because the motor has the horsepower. This
Okay.
Bosch is a variable speed, and it has a dial on the back. It'll give you variable speed while you're working it. It's kind of heavy, and it's a little noisy. The gearboxes will whine louder than some machines. Everybody makes an angle grinder polisher. You say angle grinder, it's not the same thing as a polisher. So polishers are usually variable speed. Angle grinders, on, off, full speed or off.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Variable. You want variable. This
Variable.
This Milwaukee is literally got a dial here and a variable speed trigger. The more I
nice.
push, the faster it is. So it's not an on-off. It's a variable between these settings of 1 through 5. This is great for countertop polishing and prepping. This is the one that's my favorite. This is really cool. It's only $170. Some of these are $300 and $400. This guy.
And you know what, Mark? I'll add a link to that later for people.
Okay.
So go ahead, talk.
This is used for fabricators. You can put water through it. That water thing in the back allows water to feed right through the tip. So we don't do that. We're not into the fabbing. We don't need lots of water. We just need a teeny weeny bit of water. So when I'm going to do a prep here, I'm going to do it dry first so you can get some idea of what it's all about.
All right.
Let me know if the pocket thing ain't going to work. I'll try something else. We're going to see if it does today.
Okay. Give it a try. I'll let you know if it doesn't work.
Okay. I'll try to.
It looks good right now. Looks good.
So big diamonds, no. I've just got some frosted etch here. There's a little drip of some acid right. I'm trying to position. Yeah, there.
Yeah, I see it. Just see it. Yep.
Little pea size there.
Let's get rid of that.
Everything in the camera is backwards. So when I want to go right, it's really I want to go left.
That's true.
I'm going to start with number 2 here. Okay. And I'm going to do it dry and you get the idea. Dry is a hassle because you get dust floating around. I get it. You can have a vacuum. You can they have hoods for these, but when you have a hood, you can't see what you're doing.
I know. That's right. Yep.
Tail switch, variable speed. We're going to start with we don't need high speed. We need low. I'm going to 1. Tail switch. Now, this is number 2.
Now, Mark, we can see your right hand. We can see your right hand, but we couldn't see the
Oh, I'm
machine
so sorry.
itself.
Oop,
That's okay. Just kind of angle your body a little bit
yep,
better. You'll
here
be
we
fine.
go. So
Try it
I'm going to
again.
do this again.
There we go. And so how hard, explain to people how hard you're pressing, Mark.
I am not. The weight of the tool is doing all the work. I'm steering. There's a sweet
Just
spot on this
steering.
tool. You want to hold this tool so it's balanced. So obviously, if I lay this down, what's it going to do? The
Yes,
weight of
an
the
angle.
motor is back here. I'm
Right.
taking weight off. I'm actually lifting it. I'm letting
Nice.
this guy, which is spinning it. Look at the calcium on it.
Look at that fast. Wow.
That's the stone, not my pad.
Right.
So I just buffed this out. I'm looking at it. It's the most gorgeous satin sheen. You can almost, I wish, we need like a cameraman that knows how to angle this light just right.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if we see it. So do you
There we
think
go.
I got it?
Yeah, do you see how? Well, I'm looking for the scratches. There were micro scratches right in here. Oh, this just doesn't. There we go. Little tiny mic. I'm going to get in close as I can before it goes out of focus. See a little.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see a little acid through there.
It actually looks a little shiny there, but it's really not. It's very busy. So this is now satin, beautifully uniform. So I'm going to go ahead and hit a larger area. You're going to make overlapping passes. Now you can hear the motor kind of load. If I push even harder, watch. Why didn't I kill the machine? Why didn't I stop it? Most machines will stop. This has what's called a no-load circuit in it, which means you bear down, it puts more voltage into the armature so that it won't stop. And it won't overheat for that reason too.
Slick.
Anyway, there's my finish. I have a little bit of swirl mark, but it's very, very satiny right here.
But you're going to be able to take that out when you go back to number 1 now.
Exactly. No, number 3. Remember what number 1 is?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're right. My fault.
Dude, I get mixed up all the time when
I know. I have to almost look at them. But Matt, I've got a couple guys who work for me who do all my stones. So I'm not always with it all the time.
So there's no lock on this machine. Sometimes they have what's called armature locks right here to lock it while you're taking the bit off. This, all I do is give it a hit and it spins off. It's really, really nice.
Nice. Reverse threaded, of course. Yeah.
I don't have to grab a tool or anything. So I'm going to lay that down. I know I'll mark on the back here 1, 2, or 3. What I've done is I do permanent marks on here. 2 marks means a 2. 3 marks. 3 marks right on the edge, so I could spot it from a distance. If you have this like aluminum backer, I can see my marks. But how do I write with black ink on this black?
Well, I would use an engraver. I engrave things all the time.
Yeah. So that's a way out. So we're going to go switch to a 2, or no, we already were a 2. We're going to switch to a 3. So I just put it on by spinning it on.
Reverse threaded. Yep.
Yeah, there's no wrenches needed. Turn it on and start.
While you're doing that, I'm going to explain to people, Mark, what had happened was somebody has sent me a message last week where their employee had set down a bottle of Zep acid on some marble like Mark is demonstrating with right now. And it left some etch marks and the customer was upset, rightfully so, and sent some pictures. I highly recommend and always use floor protection. I'll lay down floor protection. If I got any extra product, if I got any extra equipment, I'm going to set it on top of the floor protection. However, it's not a matter of things are going to go wrong in business. It's a matter of when it's going to happen. And so this happened to the client, to our customer, to their customer. So now we're showing them how to fix this type of problem. This series Mark and I are going to put together are going to be addressing fixing hard mistakes, because all of us, there's 2 ways to learn. You can live and learn, or you can learn and live. Live and learn is a lot more painful. So this guy's living and learning. And so that's what we're doing right now. We're teaching you how to fix a hard mistake. Just want to bring that forward. How's it looking, Mark?
You can see the margin. Let me use my camera by hand and see if it's
okay.
You can see the margin between this high gloss,
Yes.
and you can see micro swirls. You see them?
Yes.
Those are from extending your machine a little over into the other shine. Remember, this is ultimate. This is the working area. This is what we're trying to trim out. We're trying to get this to pop. So this type of marble is very granular, meaning if you broke a piece of this off, it would be like grains of granite. They're very granular. Where travertine is a completely different kind of calcium. We are
Yeah, look at that.
with water flowing, a lot of holes, a lot of soft and hard spots. So they have different character. And this one too is going to have a whole different look to it. So when we take our number 3, we're building out and taking the high points and the low points, trying to level them out completely. And so when you use usually what happens is your final step, and we didn't introduce water. That's another thing that helps you with the lubrication, keeps the temperature down. Why are we concerned about temperature? Because when you're doing it dry and you have a stone and you get too hot, you're going to spall the stone. It's going to expand the mineral crystals in there, and they're going to want to kind of pop. That's we call that spalling. They could potentially degrade the surface and put pressure in there and start giving.
I've seen that happen a lot on Vegas floors, the spalling.
Yeah, and well, they have a history of recrystallizing, which is another process where they put in acids and melt the surface down just so they can recrystallize back in those same minerals, and it puts too much tension in the stone.
I bet when you walk through Vegas now, all of us, it looks gorgeous, but when you walk through there, I'm sorry you see all the imperfections and probably drives you batty. But go ahead. All right, so what you're doing? So what do you have on there now, Mark?
I added the water. I'm on low RPM.
Same pad?
Same number 3.
Okay.
Very light.
Are you extending outside of the pattern again?
Yeah, I have to move further outward as I go, so I can take out the scratches of the previous path.
Okay.
Now when it starts biting, our calcium slurry is getting thicker.
Yes.
My pad is starting to connect with the stone. There's not as much hydrocleaning going on because it's now biting right in and getting closer to the stone, and I don't have that.
So when it starts to get to that dry point, you know that's when to start letting off of it or stopping.
So to compare your dip pad, which is, I'm just going to give you an example.
Is that what you're going to move to next, the DIP pads?
Yeah, he's going to show you what a dip pad. This is my 3000 here, this white one.
For anybody just tuned in, a DIP pad's a diamond impregnated pad, basically sprayed on.
It's not a Bonastra, so there's several brands out there. Always a dip pad should use a tiny bit of moisture. You don't use a dip dry. Why? Because the resins and then will get thermal. They have no lubrication. Water's a lubricant. And you don't want these getting hot because then you just melt your resin.
I thought I heard a brand said they came out and said they don't have to use moisture, but I can't see how that can happen.
I've used them dry before. It's just, if your floor is not perfect and not, remember our floor, our stone we're walking into, we don't know what it is. Let me give you a quick primer on this. What do you see on this pad around the edges? Do you see anything weird?
Yeah, it's a different color.
Yeah, what do you think that is?
It's because of pressure?
No, that is a higher RPM around the edges, but it's the edges that got smacked first with what it was encountering in the surface of the stone.
So it wasn't a level floor, or was it the makeup of the stone?
Because it's evenly wearing. It's just it's got some goo.
Oh, it is even wearing. It's hard to tell in the picture there.
This is sealer. This is resin. What does the penetrating sealer do? Where does it go? You've already cleaned the floor. Well, that ain't going to clean most resins off, most silicates, silicones, or
yeah. How deep? How deep does a
how deep? That's the question. We don't know. The stone's porosity determines how deep. If it's a tighter, less porous stone, it's on the surface. If it's a travertine, I guarantee you, it's deeper. So siloxanes can be water-based. They can be solvent-based. It doesn't matter. The siloxane resin is still
going to go right inside. Hey, what about a shell stone?
Well, shell stone's got more air in it than anything.
It's amazing. I love shell stone, Mark. Ever since I came across it.
Swimming pool, very rustic. You'd never want shell stone in a. Well, when you say shell stone, some people call these travertines that are shell stone. They call it shell stone because there's fossil seashells inside.
Yeah, but I'm
of the,
talking about a shellstone you use like around a pool and stuff like that. But I don't
which
want to
is
digress here.
very holy. And if you had that in the kitchen, what's going to go in those holes? Just a wild guess, you guys.
Everything, dirt, water,
Food,
everything.
oil, sugar,
But
soda.
outside by a pool, it dries
Oh, it's
fast, never
perfect.
gets hot, and
And
it's
it
never
is
slippery.
actually
It's amazing.
the coolest material you could put around the swimming pool because it
Sure
does.
is. People don't know that.
They call it air conditioned stone.
I
Very
love
expensive.
that stuff. Yes. Can you switch to a DIP pad, Mark? We can't see it.
Oh, sorry.
Is that a DIP pad or you back still with a resin?
So this is a dip pad.
It is, okay. We
Very
can't see it
little
real
water.
clear. And what number DIP pad is that?
Say again.
What number is that?
Probably 3,000 grit.
Okay.
Lots of overlapping. I'm not putting my whole body weight in this. It's just my fingers.
And what are you trying to, can you feel the texture as you're going across it?
Say again.
Mark, can you feel the texture going across it?
I can feel the friction created as I'm using the machine. So that's what you guys, when you're doing hands-on training, you're going to understand this. I'm explaining it, and you'll hear the motor bog, you'll hear certain things, but you'll feel it. So now what have I got here? I've got my ultra glass-like example. That's my standard. That's what I'm trying to take out my acid etches and make it all look like that.
And
you can
match.
see my beautiful reflection. It's photo
Yeah,
perfect.
look at that.
Then I go over here, and guess what?
A little
Where
duller.
before I didn't have anything. I am now bringing some sheen into this. You can see
it's coming back. Yeah, it's not all the way, but it's coming back.
Right. It's a process of getting it there. Now it's a stone on the corner. I can't get to the corner, but this we're in a countertop. You could go really good on the edge. You go to the backsplash. If there's etches against the backsplash, guess what? There's a limit to how you can take out etching all the way to that edge because you don't have your tool going all the way up there. So don't be frustrated. There's only so far. You're not a fab shop with this big slab laying out on a big table.
Right.
You have constraints around.
I just tell my customers, look, I'm not Helen Keller or Jerry Falwell. I can't do a miracle, but I can make it look a heck of a lot better.
So there's a product that let's just say it's 5X compound. We've got MB Stone has 0 plus. We have so many different kinds of powders that they're abrasive, slightly abrasive with micro abrasives. There's literally diamonds, tin oxide, aluminum oxide. There's a whole family of little abrasives that are used in this industry for this purpose. And when you get to the point where there's a nice satiny glow, okay, you can do some things. I had Doc Jack, if anyone knows Doc.
You're not gonna stay with the DIP pads, or is this quicker this way?
They have a limit to what they can do. In fact, sometimes I'll stay with a dip and a compound. That's a hybrid combination of things to do. That's what I'm going to kind of demonstrate. I'm going to show you what a dip and a compound does. Now, I'm supposed to be really smart and use a safety scoop, but I'm going to use these things called fingers. We're just going to be really bold.
Well, that's just out of the, I see it now. Okay. Just a couple dips them out, like you're dipping tobacco.
Just a little bit. Always close your lids. I have
keep away from children.
We're gonna get it. I love these. They just it's pressure based. It's not a trigger.
Yeah, I know. I got those too. Yep.
They just keep spraying. It's cool. Put the puddle down. Don't walk away. This stuff's got materials in it. It says it's non-acidic, but never walk away from a compound sitting on the floor. I didn't know if I lowered my speed. I need to lower it to 1 because I don't want to fling.
And what were you on before?
I was on about 2.5.
Okay. All right.
So we're going to go ahead and turn it on. I'm going to see if I can do it one-handed here. I'm going to bear down. You need to move it. Meaning get your footprint wet. East, west. north-south,
Hmm.
overlapping 50% of your pad's diameter, even pressure, even travel speed. Some of these products are meant to work and then squeegee off. Now, I don't know where I am on this. Why don't I know if it's working and where the shine is? Because it's wet. I have no idea what I've
Right,
created.
because wet makes it look like it's shiny. Exactly.
I have no idea where we are because I cannot see it because it's wet.
But you're
So-
kind of remembering where you went. And you're getting to the outside of it.
So what you can do and what I've done for years is I just use a squeegee, and I'll get my water down.
It's a good idea.
Because I don't want to throw it away. I don't want to vacuum it away. I don't want to stop because the stuff is still viable. I don't know where I am, so I want to see where I am, and you do that by pulling its shine. You're going to pull it and see just where the level of shine is. Have we
I
brought
can
that
see.
up?
Definitely
Brought that
better.
up significantly?
Much better.
It's not there yet.
But that was quick, though, to even get to that point.
Now, this is going to be under a 175 machine with a 17-inch version of this pad, right?
But
So
not if you're fixing. But not if you're fixing an acid.
Not if you're fixing a small repair. Exactly.
Right,
You
a
don't
repair,
bring
exactly.
a
Okay.
machine and make a big mess and carry a
Gotcha.
bunch of weight. Yeah, you just want to make it easy on you.
Right.
Just want to fix it. So I'm going to spread around my juice. You can see in the middle is still a little bit of the compound in there. You can see it's a green, kind of greenish kick.
So you don't need to. You don't need to ever add any more compound. Just that was all you needed.
No, I could, I might, but I'm going to use it up. I know it's still viable. There's still color there. You see those little green patches.
That's your indicator. I got you. Okay.
Yeah, there's some there. So I'm going to hit it again. This is where it's good to have a cameraman, right?
Yeah. You're not doing bad though, Mark. But yeah, you're right. Maybe you should bring somebody in there next time we do something, and have you.
Yeah, and I'm right-handed. This left-hand thing is a little new for me.
Pay your son to film you. I can see it good though. It's coming out good.
I am feeling the friction. You can actually feel the friction changes. The friction coefficient starts to change as it gets polished. There's a different feel when the stone is polished. Believe it or not, polished stone actually grabs more.
Oh.
It doesn't make sense. You think, oh, it's shiny, it's going to be slippier. That's not how it works.
Huh. I'll have to ask Matt, my stone guy, who does all my stonework for my company. He'll probably know. I'm sure he knows that. He's great. He does great work. Customers love him. So you're going outside of your patch slightly.
Yeah, I'm widening my influence.
Because, and because you're trying to blend it in, and you're also trying to get the same feel, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense.
Now, sometimes going faster speeds it up, you get more friction. Friction is an element that's part of the abrasive polishing process.
Correct.
Putting weight on a machine, that's part of increasing friction. That's why some of these machines you put weights on. Can you put weights on an ore bot?
Yes.
Yep. For the same reason we're talking. You're creating friction, connection.
I've used ore bots to polish stone with DIP pads. Work great. Did you catch what I heard, Mark? What I said?
No, I gotta turn this nasty machine on.
I said I've used DIP pads with my ore bots many times when I was still out in the field, and it worked great.
And depending on what you're doing, because again, the oscillating action is a little different than the spinning action. So here we see we're not quite there because of the fact that it's mirror and here look how much better every time I move into this.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see some granular action right over here. This area I've hardly worked on, so you can't cheat. You can't jump to the other stuff if it's if you haven't taken the time to run it through the grades. You got to run it through the drill before you think. You can't just take the final step and move in here and polish this. It doesn't work that way. You got to go through the motions, just like starting with woodworking furniture. You're going to go with coarse, medium, fine, extra fine, all the way up to double aught, triple aught steel wool.
Right.
You can make wood look like glass when you know
Practically.
what you're doing with the braces. So
Gotcha.
this step is one that Doc Jack taught me. Kind of weird. I mean, I never really thought. I did a travertine in up north, and it was a beautiful home with no-che travertine, and we polished that thing. And I went halfway through the job, and I said, "Wait a minute, I'm going to try that thing Doc taught me." And so basically, it's a little pinch of this stuff, which is scary because you know what this is?
No, I'm trying to read it. Oh, oxalic acid. Yeah. Ha. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Most people would be scared of that.
this will etch it in a New York second. If I put water on that right now and wet it and walk away, there'll be a nice dull hole there.
Well,
In
Mark,
fact,
you just dried it off. How do you know it's dry enough?
ah, you and your trick questions. Yeah, it was dry. It needs
Okay.
a wet puddle of moisture to activate. Here's what I don't have. I didn't prepare for this. I need some ammonia. I am going to go in my garage real quick. Hey, talk about belly button lint for a minute. I'm going to be right back.
Funny guy. Funny guy. I'm just going to let you guys know that we're going to be having a little series, Mark and I, on and off. And you're welcome to come in here and ask questions or mention some problems you ran into or some type of stonework or any type of hard surface question you might have. Mark and I can answer them, especially more so Mark. I've got a great stone guy, but he works all day long. So, and Mark's been around a lot more. And even sometimes my stone guy will call Mark. So that tells you something right there. And Mark's very versed when it comes to color sealing, polishing stone, cleaning stone. Of course, we all basically know how to do that. And then fixing these problems. So we want to do at least a short series, maybe 5 or 10 of different problems you run into in stone and how you can fix them yourself. Also, we are working on a training facility where Mark's going to come in and we're all going to give you guys a hands-on demonstrations and let you guys feel for yourself how to do these type of things. Okay, we'll have all the equipment there, we'll have all the chemistry there, we'll have all the tools there, and you can have a hands-on feel to it. So we've been working on a couple things behind the scenes, but I don't want to say too much. And we're shooting for probably early summer. And so you guys can come in here if you want to come into this class. We'll walk you through every different type of scenario, whether it's a countertop, whether it's a floor. We'll also do LVT, we'll do LVP, we'll do some hardwoods. Every type of hard surface you might run into, we're going to go across for you. And when it comes to stones, it'll be marble, it'll be travertine, it'll be limestone, anything we get our hands on. And then we'll have, of course, some granite floors, but mostly granite countertops. Probably even do some showers too. Show you how to do showers. We do showers with our cleaning company. Tell you what, showers are very profitable, very profitable. So if you got any questions, feel free to come in here and ask them. And we're not going to be in here much longer. And this is a long video, but you can refer back to it if this problem ever happens. And this video will be on YouTube. We will turn it into a video. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. Let's see, David Muirhead, where can we pre-sign up at? We are taking pre-sign ups, but we're not taking those till we said, I don't know if it's February 15th or March 1st. We have a lot of people who want to do it. So we're planning on doing a few classes, in succession, because that's a good question, David. And I will tell you what, stone is not only part of the future, but it's also an extremely good, diverse service that nets high dollars for you. And it also attracts high-end clients. So people will spend good money for somebody who knows how to take care of their stone. It's not that hard. If I can do it, you can do it. And you've always got a resource. You can refer back to me or Mark, and we'll walk you through any type of scenario. Just like this guy here. He sent me the picture where his employee, which he should have been using floor protection, he went inside. I think he was working in a bathroom. The bathroom had some ceramic around it, so he used some acid on the ceramic. They took the bottle of Zep, which they shouldn't have been using Zep in the first place. Should have been using our product. And they set it down on the stone. When they set it down on the stone, which was a slightly polished travertine, you couldn't see it, but it etched it. And then the customer the next day sent him a picture, the right angle. You can see the etching. And that's why you can see with Mark here, when he was taking and showing the lighting, you could see where the etched spots were. And customers look at things a lot closer than you do, especially after you do work inside their home, because now they're hyper aware. I call it hyper aware syndrome. So customers notice things a whole lot more. So that's it will be a pre-sign up that's coming along. So keep that in mind. And it's going to be a fantastic course. Fantastic course. Mark and I have been working on this for about 6 months. So I think everybody's going to be very pleased. You'll be an expert by the time you get done. Let's see if Mark fell asleep. We're going to find out here. Hey, Mark, do you go to sleep in there?
Looking for ammonia.
All right. Well, you can't look but so long. You might have to just tell people what to do. Just let you know. Because we're already at the hour mark, and I usually like to stop at the hour mark. I'd also like to say if you're not...
If I see him, I'll let him know.
I'd also like to mention that if you haven't joined our Facebook groups, we have the Truck Mount Forums Carpet Cleaning Professionals group, which is the largest in the industry. And I'm always in there, and I'm always answering questions. So if something pops up, you need a quick answer, you can find me there. And then if you need any products, of course, you can find it at tmfshop.net. We also have 2 huge buy and sell pages. So you can buy used stuff, you can sell stuff, and you can also, it's also a wanted page. So you can go ahead and buy, sell, and trade. So you can also come in there and say you're in search of something too, ISO, if you need to. And then we've got our fan page. Then we've got our forum. And so our forum is a huge resource, which you can just go in and study all the time. And then, of course, we're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Find all our videos on there too, YouTube. We try to be everywhere. We spread ourselves out nice and evenly, just like Mark's doing on here. Hey, there's 2 of me.
You're in 2 places at once. You're so spread.
Scary.
All right, guys. So, Rob, this is a really, really expensive process, this vinyl. Just want you to know, this is a very exotic, hard to get chemical. That's why it took so long to find it. So
Hey, Mark, somebody asked a question here. John Martinez said, did Mark say he starts with a fine grit first to see if that takes care of the problem?
That's right. You want to make sure you don't need more, because if you go too far and you didn't need it, too bad.
You did more damage.
You already opened the genie out of the bottle. So we're gonna put this. We're gonna mix this ammonia. It should have squirt right in the middle, but I have it in a bottle that I poured it. So there's. They do make.
Why,
they say
now why'd you put the ammonia down, Mark?
Ammonia, this is not odorless ammonia. This is ammonia cleaning ammonia and oxalic acid. We're gonna turn it on. Hit it. Stay on it. Make it spread out the soup. You want the whole area to get hit. Because while it's in this state, it's chemically active. While it's in this working mode, it's active. I'm going wider, right? I'm trying to blend it all.
Yeah, get it blended, I figured.
Now, what's really weird about this stuff, it's not like 5X compound, which after you're done, you take a squeegee and find out where you're at, and then squeegee it and decide if you've got it popped yet. This, you just polish till you're done, till it's dry,
That's it.
till it's gone. You can
Oh,
hear
wow.
my machine loading?
Yes, I hear loading.
Why
Yes.
is it loading? Because it's run out of lubricated moisture.
And it's
There's
also
no
getting more
moisture
polished.
involved in this.
Also, it's getting more polished too, correct?
It's what?
Isn't it becoming more polished, which will slow it
Yes,
down?
it's smoother and smoother, so there's no place for the planing action. It's connecting with the surface so firmly that there's this grab. You would think that a shiny surface is slippery and my pad is going to slip like crazy. It's the opposite. So this final step is kind of it's really a spooky mystery. And because it's so easy and so quick, and the results are so good, and it's inexpensive, nobody teaches this. Nobody's demonstrating it except us today.
And you definitely want to use the non-odor ammonia, correct?
The what?
The non-ammonia.
No, it's called non-odorless ammonia.
Yeah, odorless. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
odorless.
If you were
Because
doing
I'm sure
a large
you're choking
job,
in there a little
you're
bit.
right. Yeah, you would kind of fume yourself out.
I can see it being more polished already, Mark, from an angle as
All
you're
right,
going.
my hand is wearing out besides.
Yeah, I can already I can already see a difference just the way it is.
Let's see.
Sure can. Looking good. Oh wow, look at that.
All right. Well, let's
Yeah.
use the top view like we've been used to. So I'm
Yeah,
going to go
not quite.
here.
I don't think you're quite there. It's close though.
It's not exactly there, right? But look, boom. This is in
Wow.
the zone. This is in the zone that was chalky just a little bit ago.
That's where that etch spot was by that big black circle. Yep.
Yeah.
It's gone.
So do you see the transition between here and here? It's almost a
Yes.
fuzzy. Let's see. Right. Doggone it. It's really hard to get. See, it's trying to focus on the light, so the camera is autofocus.
Right.
There we go. We need a fixed focus camera. I'll have to find one. Yeah, right there. From there to there, it's a little fuzzy. It's a line, but then when I get over here, it turns glassy again.
Sure did.
That is crazy. So this is the process of getting it to blend, be natural, be normal, get rid of your etch. Now, I got to tell you, that kind of marble is the hardest marble. We started with that because, hey, people have it. But they're going to have a lot of travertine. They're going to have a lot of other marbles that are fancy in other colors. So,
Right.
again, the process is figure out what you have, what the problem is, what the cause was, and then do a test. The more you test, I mean, you know what I did? I ran across the street and picked this up at a supplier that lives right in my neighborhood. He sells slab work and travertine and marble and all kinds of flooring. And that cost me $5 for this big old thick.
Nice.
And I mean, thick.
Mark, and you know what? There's a good idea for people to pick up pieces like this to practice with.
When you're at a construction site, they demolish some marble thing or this tub or the shower wall. Just you need pieces to work on. You don't need crumbles.
I've gone,
So
Mark. I've gone to when we first got started. We went to fabrication shops. They have all kinds of extra pieces they'll just give you that are broken and stuff.
Exactly.
This is a number. We took them back, put them on it.
This is my number 2. I'm going to go ahead and start right on this. Oh, hey, that's it. I'll just leave my camera right there.
Yeah, that's a good angle.
Now, what's happening on number 2? This isn't number 3. This is number 2. My medium. Let's call it the medium. There's a little chalky dust forming.
Yes.
But this stuff smells weird. Every stone has a weird smell. I got to tell you, I think black marble is dinosaur poop. I really do. But I'm going to blow that off.
Dinosaur poop. You're crazy. I don't even believe in dinosaurs.
Okay, we won't get political, but I
believe in dragons.
So here we have this. There was an etch there.
Yes.
And it's almost gone. It's
Wow.
just barely there.
Sure
These
is.
are here. These are here. Let's see if we can see it.
It's also put a little polish on it too, but that's a dull stone.
Right, but do you see how this side is dark and this side's light and frosty?
Yes.
It is frosty because I disturbed the surface crystals with number 2. Which one is going to darken it and bring it back down to glossy? It's going to be number 1. So I'm going to watch this when I tap out the dust. So this the gaps in here start loading with a little dust. If I was going to do this wet, remember I told you guys that these 3 pads, 1, 2, and 3, are just like having 6 pads. 1 dry, 1.5 is wet, 2 dry, 2.5 when wet, 3.5 when wet.
No, you didn't tell us that. I like that.
What
That's
that means,
cool.
when you add water to these 3 pads, you are moving the material. What you see as dust right now is actually a slurry when you wet it. Right now it's a dust. It's going on my floor. It's going on the computer. Who knows where it's going? But it is a dust that's going around and it's clogging, or what's called loading, your media.
Loading.
So when dust gets in between the micro grits, those grits are being buried by a little bit or competing with a little bit of that calcium powder. So in a way, it's biting less. So when dry, using it dry, you're biting less aggressively. Once I add water to the scenario, and I watch what happens when water hits.
Which Mark seems like an oxymoron.
Yeah, you think that water is, doing, but water's pushing that dust out. But when it's dry, it's keeping it in the pad.
It's loading up, so it doesn't. Right, right.
It's
So
biting
it's
it
an
less
opposite effect.
aggressively. Exactly. It's simply put. Now, what happens when I wet it? I don't see any difference. So if you can keep wetting the customer's floor, there's no problem, right? Just keep wetting it. It'll never be a problem. You've got to polish it. So we're going to polish now wet. It's going to create a little bit of slurry action. As long as it doesn't splash on the computer, I'll be okay. So see the white creamy stuff? That would have been dry dust going in the air. Instead, it's a dry slurry. Black marble, or dark gray marble, is turning, we got this white creamy stuff. That's called calcium. Calcium carbonate. So when I wipe this off, now see I'm going dry, and when you're using this method, and I'm just mechanically removing stone, I don't want to go to dry because all that's doing is shoving all of this slurry, which is now on the pad, getting in the cracks, and is now a slurry. Having that stay a slurry means it's going to, if I keep going, it's going to just push it into the stone and dry there. That'll be in my way. So I'm gonna wipe it up with a microfiber.
That is a pretty stone when it's clean.
Sometimes I'll squeegee it. What happens when you squeegee it? You're speeding the dry time up. You're looking at a real picture of this stone.
Almost like glass.
Right. Well, we're not there yet, but
no. I'm talking about when you are squeegeeing a piece of glass, you're drying it faster.
Exactly. That's what you're creating. So you see how I've worked in. Now I'm going to go through this next time and go right through that cup ring.
Let's do that. See what it does.
There, halfway through, and I'll show you how the process is slowly getting through that ring. But you can see, even though I went by there, I have not taken out that ring at all on the bottom.
No, so that means it's pretty deep.
This squeegee can be purchased at TMF for $30. No, it's Walmart for under $4. It's a window squeegee.
I know Mark. Mark ain't going to spend no $30 for a squeegee.
No, I'm too cheap. All right, now what else do we see here that I haven't addressed? Chatter marks. This could have been from dragging something. It could have been a drill that ran away. It could be, I don't know what. How
about? Well, if he was a contractor, how about stacking them incorrectly?
Yeah, stones against stones. They're going to slip. They're going to move. You get a little grit of gravel between them. So all of this is from rumbling around in their yard. And on a job site, guys are bringing in their compressors. They're walking around. They got a little rock in the tread of their shoe. They're going to people move statues and move sculptures and furniture.
And why it's so important? And why it's so important before you use your turbo to make sure your floor is clear. So you don't pick up a pebble or something like that and do some damage on a natural stone.
And I'll give you my commercial because you guys know where the turbo. I know a few things about the turbo.
Yes, you did.
Just a few. So the boot ring that's hard boot can catch a grit of glass, sand, or metal into that boot, and it becomes a scribe, and it will scratch wherever you go.
When I traveled the country for almost 2 years from RV visiting cleaners, everybody has the boot. Maybe one or two.
Nobody has a brush boot on, right?
Nope. And you know what they say, Mark? It's too hard to change.
Or they like it. It picks up water better. If you guys want to talk to me about the whole science, the whole theory behind what boot you should use,
we'll do that another day.
Let's stick with this. Yeah, we're going to take all night if I go into that.
Yeah.
All right. Here we are.
We got to wrap this up, Mark.
Well, if they want to stay longer, they're going to pay more, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what? This is easy. I need the camera a little higher profile, and that's not hard to do. We just put more tiles under it. Yeah, that's a little better now. 2 hands. I'm going right through that ring about halfway, that acid-S ring. This is wet number 2. Wet number 2. Which is
wet number 2. Okay. You're not very clear, but mine's clear, so I can let them know it's wet number 2.
You can hear the machine loading. Oh,
yes.
Man. I swear that smells nasty, like dinosaur poop or BO or something.
Dragon poop.
Dragon poop, whatever. Okay. So I'm going to wipe it.
Oh, Lord.
No, it does. It's, travertine smells different. Rainforest. Oh, it's a beautiful stone. It has a really interesting smell.
I can imagine.
Remember, stone is dead things and organic stuff.
That's actually a pretty stone, Mark.
Yeah, it has some character. It's pretty interesting when you put an enhancer on here. Look at that, just slightly pebbled. It's just
Yeah, could you imagine? That would look
very
sharp.
interesting. Nice countertop here.
Mm-hmm.
Watch me blow on it. I didn't even squeegee it. I just used my microfiber. Do you see the gray splatter on here? That
Yes.
gray
Yeah.
splatter
Mhm.
is the stone's calcium. See how quickly that blew dry?
Look at that. Wow. You got some hot breath. Wow, it cut through that etch real nice.
Yeah, do you see how it's gone?
Yeah.
Now over here, why is the chatter there?
They're
If I were
deeper.
blindfolded, and I'm not, but I can feel
They're
those
deeper.
chatters.
Yeah.
They are deeper because that was a drill that went out of control. You see the da 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 da. It's a
Yeah.
repetitive motion. So what would I do? Would I just keep working it, guys, with this number 2?
No, you have to switch to
The
get to deeper.
first person to answer that correctly gets what, Rob? The
Um,
hack? The TMF
Mark,
hack.
people are asking, can they already pre-sign up for our stone class? I told them we already had people in line for it.
We got
Yeah.
over. I think I counted 128 so far, and I just.
Are you serious, Mark?
We apologize, guys. We've been talking about it, but it's
Wow.
really hard to find the venue.
Yeah, we'll get
if
it.
you've
I'll
got-
get it.
We'll get it, and you guys will be lining up, and we'll have to do them 2 weeks back to back.
Yes, sir.
Have to put me in a hotel, and I'll just stay. All right. So how do we take those out? Who's got the answer? First one gets a prize. What are you going to get? How do we get rid of the chatter? We've already used the number 2 here. We took out our etch, okay, all the way down. We haven't
Mark-
taken this one out.
Mark, we're just concentrating on the on that. I'm going to wrap it up here.
All right, it's number 1.
Yeah, that's
We're going
John
to go chase.
Martinez. John Martinez said, "Go rougher."
Yep, that's another way of saying it. But he didn't know what our numbers are, and so yeah, we're
Right,
going more
right.
abrasive, larger
More
grit.
abrasive. That's the
Here
word.
it is. I'm going to do it dry.
Okay.
I'm staying slow here, guys. I don't need hyper speed. Now I want you to see something. I'm going to brush this off dry. What did number 1 do? What do you
Wow.
see in there?
It
See all the
haloed it
scratches
some.
I put in there? Those are these crazy diamonds that are biting into that stone, and it's leaving scratches, man. But am I worried? No, because I'm going to
Nope.
take them out with number 2 when I'm done
Right.
taking these pits out. The pits have got to go first. That's our goal.
They got to go. Right.
You're going to chase it. I may even go higher speed, but look at the amount of dust coming off that bad boy.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I want you to see my office furniture now.
Well, why not? Why
Don't
not,
tell
Mark?
my wife. Don't tell my wife.
Why go dry instead of wet?
Well, this is what's neat about calcium dust. It's kind of harmless. I mean, all it is calcium. So one wipe down. Well, I'm struggling pretty hard. I might use a damp towel. Anyway, it's recoverable. These are not chemicals. It's just calcium. It's a mineral.
Right. Gotcha.
You're not going to hurt anybody's cabinet. All right. Now, what you're going to do when you evaluate your progress is stop, check your tool. Don't use wet, because when you use wet, what happens? Everything just disappears. You can't tell really what's going on until the water dries. So just dust this area and see where you're at. Where am I at? Do these look way less? Do these look barely detectable? Wait, I got to shine it. They're there, right? But they're
Yeah.
a whole lot. There
Yeah, I
they
can
are.
still
This
see a little bit
one
of chatter. Yep.
and this one is really almost gone. So a little more work, and I'll have that gone. I'm pushing pretty darn hard because remember, this is a no-load machine. Now, if
Yeah,
I
I'm gonna buy one of those from my tech, and I'm gonna put a link up for everybody to buy those, Mark.
yeah, I
that's
wish I
pretty
could get these wholesale. I could make a fortune on you guys. I've already sold like 4 of these to guys, and I haven't made a dime because I didn't sell it. I just told them where to get them.
Right.
They'll be at your door in 3 days, by the way. Amazon, baby.
Mark, don't give everything away.
I know.
I'll put the link up for people to buy it.
I need $80,000, Rob. Is that okay? All
Well,
right.
the price will be the same, but at least you'll get a little credit for it. That's how I look at it.
Now, why do I want to look at this and observe and do an evaluation dry?
Because well, you want to be able to see it, and you don't want to go any deeper than you have to.
Exactly. But when it's dry, you still see it. if I were to wet that,
I know it'll
you can
disappear.
see I can barely see them. They're just barely there. There's no more chatter. It's just one tiny.
Oh yeah, look at
couple of
that.
tiny-
Yep, it looks
Those
good.
deep
It looks real
pops are
good.
hardly there.
It,
This is
it
what it
almost
looks like. This is
it
what
almost
was
looks
before.
natural now, Mark. It almost
Yeah,
looks
I
natural.
could walk away. I could call it good, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's wipe it down, and you see they're gone, but they're not.
Yeah.
They're still there, but
Yeah.
we already know where they're going to be. So I'm going to pick up all this dust. The dust is all dry and powdery, but you can corral it with a wet towel. You don't have to go vacuum it. Just use your microfiber. They're the best thing ever for this.
Hey, Mark. Yeah. Why is it, Mark, that when things are uniform looking, they look more attractive usually? It's
Well,
more
because
aesthetic.
yeah,
But hold
the
on.
word does the
Hold
word
on.
dirty mean anything?
Hold on. Let me finish, Mark. I want you to see where I'm going with this. When things are more uniform and more aesthetic, they look more even. You just feel like that looks better. However, when it comes to stone, it can have all kinds of variances in it, and it looks amazing. How do you
From the
explain
top,
that?
well, from the top down, because nature made it. No two stones are alike, right? And
Right.
the reason they're making tile now to look like stone, this guy, and they have a new thing where they're involving AI. AI can say, I see what marbling looks like. I'm going to
Wow.
go change it. Nature never puts two of these patterns alike, but silk screening and photo generated inkjet printing is what's been used in the tile making industry for decades. But when you get an AI computer program involved, it's going to say, I'm going to just bend that around. I'm going to make it longer. I'm going to
Wow.
put two of these. It just doesn't. You will fool the best stone mason in the world if you have AI creating this in a inkjet
AI
printer.
is a two-edged sword, my friend.
It's good and evil at the same time. So here we
Yep.
are, dried,
Let's look at it.
and we have chalky, we have rich.
Yes.
But why is this chalkier and this one kind of nice, closer to this rich color?
Because of the difference in the grit you used.
Exactly. He was number 2. He is what?
Number 1.
Number 1. This is we're trying to achieve is number 3. We haven't even put number 3 on this. But what do we got to do here before we go to number 1 or number
Go back
3?
to 2. Go back to
We got
2.
to go back to 2. So number 2 is this blue. No, that's number 2 is blue. So we're going to put that on. Go back to. You want to see me do this upside down? Will that help? No, I guess it won't.
No, I don't think so.
See there. All right, we're going to do it dry. I'm going to go halfway through it because I want you to see the difference.
Smart.
There you go. You see
Look how fast that worked too.
Look how we're really close now.
Yeah, look how fast it worked. Yeah.
It's almost there. I have a little margin there that just could be just dust. Yeah, it's just dust. So see
Nice.
how we're getting a glow. This
Yes.
isn't a glow. I have not introduced water in this yet. I just dry buffed it just now. So I'm going to scrub this because remember, calcium as a powder will also act like a polish. It's kind of weird. It'll go in there, but it's temporary because I just buffed that and now I've washed it out and now I'm blowing
look
it
at that.
dry.
Wow.
You can see they're real close now. There's still a little bit of luster here, but see, he's number 3, or no, I'm sorry, number 1, number 2. Now we're going to go introduce 3 because we're there. We're ready.
Yeah, and now and by the way you're doing it, we can see the differences by breaking them up in sections. I like that.
Yeah, that just helps you visualize where
Yes.
we've come from.
So
So
you can see the stages.
there's a glare on this. Can you see it? It almost
Yeah,
looks
because it's a
like
little more polished.
It almost looks like a polished stone, right? Look at
Yes.
the glow on it.
Yeah, I can
So
see
that's
it.
how fine the diamonds are in this. We're going to go
Wow.
dry. And I'm not going to do the whole left. I'm going to just do this. I'm going to pick up the speed. This is interesting, and when you do this long enough, you'll understand why this happened. Looking down on it, you can see, and we can see a glow starting to happen here. Come on, focus, little camera.
It's trying to focus.
There, see how this side here barely has a glow, almost none. In fact, you can see the line where I stopped. See, here to here, here
Yeah.
to here.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
But right over here, we get a glow. But look what's going on over here. I don't know if you can see it. Let me. Tick, 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 tick. See
Yeah,
how
you're
close?
getting real close to the other piece though.
Yeah. Look here. What do we see though? Do you see some little bumpy,
spalling?
pebbly things? Like spalling, but they're high points. You see around each high dot,
Yes.
it's dull.
Yes. Yes.
That is resin. There was a sealer on this. This was a floating sample, and the guy put some kind of enhancing sealer on it. So there we
Gotcha.
have it. We are starting to get a build that's not polishing. It's like it collects and precipitates there, and so
I
that's
can
why
see that.
wet never does that. With wet, I can move it. So I'm going to go back to the same polishing pad, but I'm going to do something different. I'm going to add water this time. Not
Yeah.
dry.
Good observation. Good observation.
This is how I keep from doing that because it'll drive you crazy. It did me for a year and a half. I could not understand why I could never get rid of those little bumps, and they would
And you
move.
see why, Mark? If people come to the classes, they'll learn these little tips. It took you years to do.
Yeah, we already did the hard stuff, the hard knock method of learning.
Right. Right. We fixed the hard mistakes.
Again, don't let it start going to dry because then you can see the stone gets thermal and it doesn't move much. So here I'm bumping that off, and now we're going to go dry. To do it dry, we can go ahead and dry it physically, but then blow on it. Doesn't take long. When you do this on a floor machine in big areas, you're doing big whole areas like 40, 30 square feet at a time. Look at that. It just went.
Ugh. I was got my first yawn, Mark. It's getting late over here.
Yeah, I know. I'm long in the tooth, as they say. Have we
It's
lost
okay.
anybody? Are they still awake?
Yeah, there's still more people in here, but I think we need to wrap it up, Mark.
We're
now in 30.
This is
You'll go wet.
This is number. No, we need number 3 now. Oh, that was number 3. Okay, good.
Yeah, I thought it was.
We get it to that really bright glow. And then what's our last step? Now look at the difference between that dry action. Remember, this is number 2. This is number 1. This is number 3. What's happening to the color here, gentlemen?
Starting to
ladies?
match.
It's getting deeper. And with the glow from the light above, ooh, this is a better angle. Do you see how that doesn't glow a bit?
Yes.
This number 3, you couldn't barely tell there's any light reflecting.
Yeah.
And number 3 is starting to pop more
than the actual.
So what we do now is what? What's our secret?
Are you going to DIP it, Pat, or are you going to go back to the?
Nope, I'm going to go straight. I'm going to use a DIP.
The oxalate. You're going to use the oxalate.
And we're
with
probably
ammonia.
And I'm probably going to just do this little quarter sector. I'm not going to go around because this is cool. We got all 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, I like
5
that.
different scenarios. Good
Slick.
instructional. So take off our pad by bumping the head. Go to our 3000 grit dip. Screw it on. Again, no tools. Just spin it on. It's going to self-lock. We need our pneumonia, our ammonia.
Ammonia.
Yeah, this is so
Nobody
hard.
wants pneumonia.
Yeah, this is hard to dispense out of a jug. Normally, it's in a trigger spray. That's what I do. There we go. You're just wetting the pile. It's all you need the ammonia for is to wet the pile.
That's good to know.
Man.
Strong, huh?
All right, here goes. I'm going to get it in there, move it around. Now, it's going to splash into those zones, but it's ammonia. It's buffered. The ammonia acts like a buffer. I'm going to push down hard just so it doesn't splatter as much. Now, remember, I take this to dry.
Right.
I do not
Wet to dry.
Hurry. You buff it till there's nothing left. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to wear sunblock. I'm going to have to wear sunblock.
I'm telling you, that's a pretty stone. People don't know it. I could tell that'd be a beautiful
Wait till
stone.
you see this when you're done. When I'm done.
Okay.
Okay. Trust me, you need to get that odorless ammonia. I'm going to do
Absolutely.
one final wet wipe down so I can get rid of the splatter.
Okay. All over
The
it.
splatter is not very handsome looking. It's just everywhere. So you can see it's on my pants for that matter, right?
Yes, we can. Trying that look, but yes, we do see it.
All right, now we're going to dry it with the towel. Squeegee works pretty good because it moves the water out off the surface. Okay, you guys got sunglasses on?
Yeah, bring it on.
Oh man, I got splatter on the camera. Let's see.
Oh yeah.
You seeing?
I told you that's a pretty stone.
Yeah,
that
but
would really.
isn't it prettier when it's been glossed?
Yes. Yeah.
So this, let me see if I can. Oh, there we go.
Wow.
There's original, which I think you can make out maybe
A little bit.
Evidence of a light somewhere in the ceiling.
Yes, we can see it, Mark. Yep.
Here you're going to see zip nothing. Here
Right.
you're going to see
It's just just a very and a little decent amount there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Number 2. Pow.
Yeah. Customer would love that. All over. Looks good, Mark. And the etch, Mark. Piece of cake.
It's not hard. You just need the right tools. You get some pads, get a good machine you can not wear yourself out on. If I use
Mark,
this machine, it
now,
would
Mark,
work. It's heavy.
Yeah. Now, Mark, to sum it up, walk us through the stages as briefly as you possibly can. So you got the etch on the floor.
Identify the cause because it helps you identify the degree of etch. That determines
clean it first to make sure that it's not something that's on top.
Like a wax. Cleaning it's not going to take off a penetrating sealer, so you'll only discover that when your pad starts to load. Remember this?
Right.
Why is that pad got a perimeter of dull, dirty look on it?
Right. Because you said it was on there.
Out is sticking to the edges. And that stops you from making any progress. You're just putting plastic on plastic. It's just going to do nothing but get hot.
Gotcha.
So identify what your task is, how far, how deep the etch is. Are you going to take out a chatter or a scratch?
Right.
Are you do you have any resin holes that you want to fill? Because remember, travertine is a calcium.
Let's just stick with this problem, and that's the thing. And we'll come back to that. We're going to do more of this. This is
and
good.
If it's super light frosted etch, where she's annoyed that at a long look angle, she can see. I don't know if you can see that. Look at that, guys.
It looks great.
It's like that. So absolutely. When you look long and she sees all these little watermarks in her kitchen around by the back door where the dog dishes are, where the dog might have barfed or peed or whatever, or someone spilled a drink, she's irritated by it. She keeps cleaning it, but she's not going to clean anything away. It's missing stone. It's like a carpet. When you bleach a carpet, are you going to clean the bleach spot out? No, the bleach ruined the dye. You need to put dye back in. Well, we can't put stone back in an etch, but we can hone the surrounding area to make that etch disappear by honing it and then polishing it back up. Just like this etch is still there.
And you're going to start with resin pads, correct?
You're going to start with the resins because they can be quickly grabbed. They can be put on the machine. If it's a super light frosted, I'd try the green Bonastra. Yeah,
you would the green, okay?
Because it might just pop it really quick with just dry. Add a little mist of water if it goes.
And hey, why cause any more problems? If you're trying to kill an ant, you don't need a hammer.
Right.
If you got a rat, you want a hammer.
Do you really want to put some splatter on the cabinets next to where
you're trying not to? Exactly. So start from the least way to work your way.
All this with 3M masking and protect? I might. It makes me look official, but you know what? I can fix that with a really nice wipe down with a nice microfiber.
And Mark, I'm gonna let you know, Mark. We use tape and drape.
I know it's impressive. It looks good.
It is.
And it will make the customer feel like, because while she walks in and you're doing that, do you have time to explain how harmless this calcium is to her cabinets? It's just another conversation to have. She's thinking, I spent.
And it looks tacky. It looks tacky. It looks tacky when you're wiping it off. Hey, Mark, we got one final question. John Martinez asked, do you use a shine meter?
No, because if you're trying to compare, you're in a courtroom and you want to prove that you brought it back to original shine because someone's upset that it isn't as shiny as they want. A gloss meter can be anywhere from, I think they're down to $400 to
Yeah, I've got
$12.
one. Mm-hmm.
And it makes you look, again, it's a tool of the trade. It makes you impressive looking to the customer. But you know what?
Hey, Mark, it's great for walkthroughs and selling the job.
It helps the customer say, wow, this guy knows his stuff and he's equipped. But does it really make you a better polisher, a better technician? Not really, because I mean, I'm comparing.
You can see that with your naked eye.
You see it, either that or you're in the wrong business. So
yeah, exactly.
It's a useful tool. Look for one at auction. Buy it if it is a good price. Buy it if you really think you need it. I mean, I can talk for probably too long, but
as a sales tool, we keep it on the trucks more, but we do use it sometimes, but it's more of a sales tool for us. I don't want to say gimmick. It's more of a sales tool.
Not a gimmick. If you were to say, Mrs. Jones, how shiny do you want that? Do you want a number 5 or a number 9? She didn't know what that means. So what you do is a demo, and you say, well, we can bring it to here, and this meter can measure. A paper bag is 0. Glass is 9 or 10, right? I mean, that's the scale. So if it doesn't reflect, it's 0. So you decide if it's a useful tool and it does help you close a sale and charge $4, $5, $6, $8,000. I just made $7,000 on a customer. They just brand new floor. They just want it right. So there's money to be had in reaching perfection.
Absolutely, or at least close to it.
Perfection.
Well, Mark, I'm going to wrap this up, bud. You did a great job tonight, man. And if I already mentioned everybody, they're welcome to come in here and add any other ideas or questions and stuff they want to go through. And Mark, maybe we could pick out a certain situation you run into next time, or any type of situation you feel like that we should address the cleaners overlooking. I think we really need to teach people how to do micro tests on variable surfaces. What do you think about doing that next time?
Yeah, for coatings, for anything.
Anything.
Wax stripping, you've got to be able to know what you're dealing with. Know if you don't know the difference between a marble and a porcelain faux, that's what you need to get good at. Because to walk away from
Mark, should we start with ID next time, or start with micro testing?
Take a vote. Have everybody tell you what they want.
Okay. All right. You guys just let us know. Well, Mark, it was a pleasure, my friend. I'm going to go ahead and end this stream. And like I said, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do. You'll get alert when these things pop up like this. Mark is an infinite amount. He has an infinite amount of knowledge when it comes to these type of things. And it's always valuable to have. Thanks, Mark. We appreciate everything you've done. Okay.
Have a good evening.
All right, brother. You too now. Y'all be good, everybody. I'm Rob Allen, Truck Mount Forums. Have a great night.